Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, good evening to all of us from wherever we are joining from. Please confirm you can hear my voice. You can hear me clearly. Please, can you hear me, Isaiah?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear
I
you.
can hear you.
You can go on.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let me share my screen so that I can introduce myself properly. So please let me know if you can screen. Okay, so for those of us that are just meeting me for the first time, my name is Falansho Ajala, and uh, I'm a business intelligence analyst. Currently working with Oxygen X, the finance company here in Nigeria, and for like I have like over 3 years experience working as a data analyst, working as a BI, business intelligence analyst as well. And like I said, like Isaiah said, I'm part of this wonderful community as well. Training people and also assisting the upcoming and even some of us that are professionals. We are all learning from one another. So it's a good platform to learn from others. So I've trained over 3,000 people since I started my career journey as well. I have few certification in Microsoft, the likes of Microsoft Fabric, Power BI, Azure, and some other certifications, right? Sorry. Okay, so some of the things that I do, professional experience, like I said, currently I work with Oxygen Heads. I'm also a corporate trainer. I train senior management in anything related to Power BI, Azure, Databricks, and Office 2. Have helped in building a robust dashboard, from my experience working with consulting, different organizations. So I have experience in that. I'm also a part of a community that we build people together as well. So these are just the few things about me. For those of us that are just meeting me for the first time, you can also connect with me on LinkedIn. I think I'm mostly active on LinkedIn. Very few activities on on Twitter, but you can connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to connect with me. So thank you very much, everyone. I know there is no time. I would have said everybody should also introduce themselves one after the other, but I know we don't have much time. So we can connect on social so we can talk better. So today, please confirm you can hear me, just to be sure.
Yes, we can hear you very clear.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Isaiah. So today we're going to be talking about how to connect Power BI to different data source. So we're going to be talking about how to connect Power BI to different data source, right? So we have the likes of connecting to Azure, Databricks, GitHub. We have a lot of data source that can connect Power BI to, but I know for some of us, we might have limitation to how to connect to all these source, probably because we don't have experience using some of these services like Databricks. It's not everybody that use Databricks where they are working. It's not everybody that use Azure Synapse where they are working. It's not everybody that use Azure SQL Database where they are working. So I think this is going to be like additional eye opening for some of us that don't have access to some of these different connectors. So, and one of the advantages of this section is that some organization or some recruiters will just ask you, oh, have you worked with Synapse Analytics before? Have you connected Power BI to Synapse Analytics before? Have you connected to Power BI before? And the answer is that no, you have not done it before. But even just watching steps of someone doing it, you will see that this thing is not even hard. So far that you have the connection, because most of all this thing connector is just having the right connection string. If you have the right connection string, you have the credential, you're able to connect to your Power BI and you can start doing your stuff as a data analyst. So those are the things that we're going to be talking about today. But before we start talking about data connectivity to Power BI. So there are three major storage mode in Power BI that we want to talk about first before we start connecting from different sources into Power BI. I want to try as much as possible to make sure that this session is interactive. So I would like to hear feedback from us. So I'm very sure most of us here, we are not beginners. So we are not beginners. And I know DataJob have been doing this for a couple of years. So we have experience. So I would just like to ask some of us that are on the call. We have three connectors, three storage mode in Power BI. We have the import mode, we have the direct query, we have the live connection. So I would like to ask anybody on this call, which of these three you have, any of these three connectors you have not used before? I'm not going to ask the one you have used before. I will ask the one you have not used before. So which of these three storage modes you have not encountered before? Anyone? Can just drop a chat, or you can raise your hand and let's see. So which of these connectors you have not used before, or you have not used before? Live connection. Okay, so Rofia said live connection. What about others? What about others? They have more response. Live connection. Okay. Okay, live connection. Stella say live connection as well. Okay, that's fine. Which other one? Any other person? We have 10 people on the call at the moment. So Oluwole, Chidima. So let's drop our answers. Okay, but the way it's going, I think live connection. Or if you have if you have connected to all the source, you can just say you have connected to all the source, or you have experience with all the three connectors, right? Okay, that's fine. Oluwale said he has experience with all the used all. Wow, interesting. So, like I said, this session is not we are just going to be interacting. It's not going to be a session of one person know it all, since we all have experience using all this. But for those of us that does not have experience, okay, so we have three storage mode, right? So we have the import mode, the direct query, the live connection. So what is the difference between all these three storage mode we have in Power BI? So for the import mode, I think that is the one that most of us are very familiar with. So you pull in data from different sources and you put it inside, you copy the data into the Power BI memory, and it converts it to a PBIS file for you. And the file, the engine that we use in the Power BI is called the Vertipack engine, which helps you to compress your files. No matter how large the data is, it will still compress it to you for you. But one of the limitations of import mode is that once your data is getting up to like 1 gig, it starts, the behavior of your reports might be way more slower than using other storage mode. So we have the direct query as well. So in direct query, you are not importing the data into Power BI, right? What you are doing is that you're just connecting directly to the database that you are using. So you're connecting the data to the database itself. So you're not bringing the data into Power BI. And this also has its own advantages and also have its own impact in Power BI as well. We also have live connection. So live connection is mostly connected to a pre-built analysis service model. No local data or model is created. So you are just creating, you are just connecting to a direct window into the existing model, right? So the likes of, so I'm going to give an examples where you use import mode, examples where you use direct query, an example where you use live connection. So for import mode, like maybe you have your Excel file, you can use import mode in that part, right? You are importing the data into your Power BI. For direct query, when you are connecting to a database or maybe a warehouse, so you can use direct query But anything that has to do with a warehouse or a database system, you can use your direct query. Then for live connection, so the likes of Synapse Analytics, the likes of Microsoft Fabric, they are a sample of live connection. So we are going to demonstrate all these storage mode that we have, see how you can use them with Power BI, the impacts, and what we all need to know. So for the import mode, why this mode is very, very important, right? Why is this mode very, very important to us? So when it comes to DAX support, you have 100% DAX support with your import mode. It is mostly used for, it is best for dashboard, and when it comes to fast query performance, when it comes to the VerticPack, it's also very, very good in that. Then we have some key limitation of import mode. So data is not real time. So when it comes to having a real time data, when you use import mode, you don't have your data in real time. So what you do is that you have to schedule a refresh on the Power BI service, right? So on your Power BI service, you have to schedule a refresh, maybe like 3 hours interval or 2 hours interval. So data is not in real time when it comes to import mode. So large data set has significantly increased. So when you have a large data, then the files of your PBIS file increase, and it's going to affect your performance. It's going to affect the performance of your report. Your report might be slower. Report that's supposed to load for like 5 minutes or 2, or I said 5 minutes, in less than a minute, right? It can take 2-3 minutes before it loads. So large data set can actually affect that. So it requires a scheduled refresh to keep data current. So you have to keep refreshing your data often. You can do that on the Power BI service. You don't have to do it manually. So we also have the direct query. So direct query is always what? Always up to date, right? It's always up to date. It is near to real time, not as perfect, but it is near to real time. No 5 size limitation. It's not like, oh, you have to compress your PBIS file to 1 gigabyte before it works. No data stored in PBIS, right? You're not bringing the data into Power BI at the moment. So all the data is on your data source. So data stays in your source, like I said earlier. No refresh schedule needed in direct query because the data is always up to date as well. But what are the key limitations? So what are the things that we need to pay attention to? So slower report performance. Each visual wait for a database round trip before it can, before you get your report to be up to date. Not all DAX features and functions are supported. So whenever you are using your direct query, it is not all the DAX function. You might see that, some DAX function you are not able to use it with your direct query. It's as a result of limitation of direct query. So your database carries the query load. Every user can slow down your source as well. So if you have every query from your database, it's going to also affect your performance with Power BI. So the last one, which is the enterprise standard, which is the live connection. This is the enterprise standard. So why is this one important, and what are the importance of using live connection? So one of the important is that it has single source of truth. All report authors connect to one central model. You are using the same metric, you are using the same calculation, you are using the same semantic models. It's not like, okay, I think during the week, we have, I was working with some set of management, and they are talking about the discrepancies between some certain, I think they have 2 departments, right? And I think they have 2 departments, and when they are all picking their data from the same source, from different source rather. I think one is picking data from their production environment. One is picking data from their data warehouse. So while they are trying to compare their reports, they are supposed to report the same thing, but the data is not jiving, right? One is having a 1,000 of data, another person is having maybe a lesser values. So there's no what's it called? there is no uniform in their result. And when you don't have a single source of truth, this kind of things is going to happen. So one of the advantages of the live connection or the enterprise standard is that it's going to make all your reports to be to be uniform. It's not like, partnership team is reporting this data, risk team is reporting this, and they're having different data. It's not going to be like that. So when it comes to high performance on large data set, yes, the live connections or the SaaS, the enterprise standard, it helps you to have a very good high when it comes to optimizing for enterprise skills, when you are working with a big data, right? So yeah, live connection has the best, but it also has its own limitation. Anything that has its own good also has its own bad side as well. So anything that has its own good side also have its own bad side. So let's look at the bad side of it, or the limitation anyway. So cannot add new calculated column. So whenever you are dealing with live connection, you cannot add a new calculated column. You cannot even add a table into live connection. I'm going to show you an example. You cannot add a table into it. So everything you have to do has to be within the within that environment, not in Power BI. You can't do that in Power BI. Must have access to the SaaS server or the shared Power BI data set. It is less flexible. So it is locked to the existing model structure. So this is very, very, it's not flexible. Live connection is not flexible at all. For most of analysts or BI, for BI guys, if you are using live connection, it's not flexible at all. It's not flexible. So most of the time, if you don't have access to the back end, right, you have limitation of what you can do. So I think the only thing you can just do is just to create measures and create your dashboard. That's the only thing. So it is not really, so you have to build everything within the SaaS environment before you can now go to the Power BI and start building your report. So we'll see how some of the examples of all this. So you can also look at the decision guide, when to use which one, when should you use import mode, direct query, live connection. So you can look at the slide later. I can share the slide with you guys so you guys can look at that later. So Power BI data source. So that is our main goals for the week, or for today rather. So our main activities is that we want to connect to as many as possible data source, because we want to move from just connecting to Excel, SQL Server, SQL Server on-prem. We want to see how we can connect to other source like Databricks, Azure Synapse, Azure SQL Database. What are the things that you need? What are the, how do you connect to those sources? And sincerely speaking, it's very easy actually. So you just need credentials. Once you have the credentials, and you are good to go. So please, are we following? Are we following?
Yes, we are with you.
All right. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. So let's start with, so we talk about different Power BI data source. We talk about Fabric Lakehouse, how you can connect to Azure SQL Database, Azure Data Lake Gen 2, GitHub, Azure Synapse, and some other connectivities that you can connect to. So we have maybe like about 8 or 7 of them, but because of time, we will see how we can go, how fast we can go, and see how we can connect to all this data source. So let's start. So let me share my screen, because this is a demo. So it's not like we'll just be talking. So we'll all see how to implement it in real time. So let's start with GitHub. Let's start with GitHub. So I have this data on my GitHub, even market data set. This is a popular data set. So I have this data set on my GitHub, and I want to connect this. So some organizations use GitHub, private GitHub. They store their data there, just for, if you don't have cloud like Azure, AWS, just want to do something not too big, you can store your stuff on GitHub as well. So so I have some data here, and I want to connect to Power BI. How do you connect to Power BI? Very simple, and I'm very sure that most of us know that already, but let's just, for the sake of people that have not done that before, so let's quickly see how you can connect to GitHub. Okay, so to connect to GitHub, just go to your, very easy, just go to your web, so click on web. So you click on web. So it's going to ask you for the URL, right? So then go back to your GitHub. So for you to do that, if you want to get the URL, so click on the data set itself. Click on the data set. Then click on the data set. Then try as much as possible to check that you are using the raw link. So click on this raw. Click on this raw. So that's right. So guess what? You have something like this. So then you can copy the link from your GitHub, right? Just copy the link from the top here. Then come and paste the link here. Then you can now click on OK. So how many of us have connected to GitHub before? Have you connected Power BI to GitHub before? Yeah, I think I need to ask the question before I start the connection. So how many of us have connected to GitHub before? If you have connected to GitHub before, can you just say yes, no, yes, no? So let me get
No.
No. Okay. So I believe
No.
you have seen how. No. Okay. All right. Okay. Someone says lagging. So sorry for that. Sorry for that. I hope you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Can you all see my screen?
Yes, you can. I can see your screen.
Okay. So what?
Yes, we can, but it's lagging actually.
Oh, it's lagging. Sorry for that. Let me see if I can change my network. Maybe it will be better. Let's see whether this will be better. Okay, sorry, what can you see on my screen, Isaiah? Sure if you can see my screen. What can you see on my screen?
The preview of the data.
Yeah.
The data preview.
Okay, data preview.
They are trying to load.
Oh, okay. Okay, I think someone said he doesn't get how I connected to the GitHub. So let me reconnect. Okay, so what I just did is that I click on get data here, then I click on web. So I click on web. So go back to your GitHub. So on your GitHub, make sure you click on, you get the raw link. Don't just copy the link directly, right? So once you have your files, just click on the raw. You see this raw that we have here. You see this raw, just click on this raw, click on it. Then you can now copy the link from your search bar here. I hope that is clear. Is that fine? Person that has. Sorry, is that fine? Is that clear? Okay, so this is how you then you can click on transform data if you need to clean the data. So you can click on transform data, then you go ahead and clean your data. So you can see your data now, right? So the Maven customer data that we just added. So now let's try let's see what type of storage mode we are using here. So if you close and apply, sorry, someone saying something. Isaiah, sorry, can you guys still hear me? Just to be sure you guys can still hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So I believe you all get how I load the data from the GitHub into the Power BI. It's very easy. Just the only thing that you need to be sure is that you make sure that you are using the raw file link if you want to connect via the web. So it's easier like that way. It's easier that way. So that is that. So now let's look at the data we just load. So let's pay attention to this. So let's look at data we just load. Now, if you go to your table, if you go to your model view, right, and you click on the file, the data, the table mode, the table, right, and you scroll down here, go to advanced, then you scroll down, you will see your storage mode here. Can you see? So the storage mode here is what? Is import. Can you see? It's import. So that's how to check the type of data storage or your storage mode that you are using. So this time around, we have what? Import mode. So we are using import mode here. So because of time, let's quickly look at some other source as well. So let's look at the Fabric Lakehouse. How to connect to the Fabric Lakehouse. How do you connect to Fabric Lakehouse? So let's look at how we can connect to the Fabric Lakehouse. So for the Fabric Lakehouse, right? When I was explaining the other time about different storage, we talk about live connection, we talk about direct queries, and we talk about import mode, right? So it depends on how you want to connect to Fabric Lakehouse, because Fabric Lakehouse can give you different things. It can give you a live connection. It can also give you a connection that bringing the data into Power BI. It's also fine by itself. So you understand. So let's see how this tool works. So let me show you how this tool works. So let's open a new Power BI file. So I have my Fabric account here. So this is my Fabric environment, and I have this Maven product, right? So this is so if you look at this data, let me open this lakehouse. So I have this data in my lakehouse here. So I have this data in my lakehouse here. So I want to connect this data to Power BI. So it depends on how I want the behavior. So I can decide that I want live connection. And I can also decide that, I want to bring in the data into Power BI directly. So if you go to your Power BI, do we have anybody that has connected to Fabric before? If you are connected to Fabric before, can you just signify? So let's see those that have connected to Fabric before. Have you connected to Fabric before? Anyone? Anyone that has connected to Fabric before? Oh, Chidima said no. Okay. All right, that's fine. Okay. Okay. Interesting. All right. So, okay, that's fine. So for you to connect to Fabric, right? So what you need is you need an account, right? For you to be able to connect to Fabric, you need an account. You need You need a work account that has either your company work account, you have your developer account, you have to use it to connect to Fabric, because Fabric is a SaaS, is a SaaS platform, right? The SaaS platform. So you need an account to use before you can connect to the Fabric environment. So how do you connect to Fabric environment? So you can just click on your Get Data. So click on Get Data here. Go to your Get Data, or you might not even need to go to Get Data. You can just go to your OneLake catalog. I don't go to OneLake catalog. So on the OneLake catalog, you will see your semantic model, data mart, lakehouse, warehouse, KQL, SQL database, everything that is on your OneLake, right? So you can see everything here already. So how do you connect to your lakehouse? So depending on what you want to do. So let's click on lakehouse. So let's click on lakehouse. So now on my lakehouse, right, on my Fabric environment, right? So I have lakehouse, I have warehouse, I have a lot of services here. So this is the one that I want to connect to, this Power BI lakehouse, right? So if I click on it, now if you click on it, right? If I click on it, now the reason why I can see this is because I have an account. I mentioned that for you to be able to connect to your lakehouse, you must have an account. You must have like either your work email, you have your work email, or you have your what's it called? Maybe your developer account, or any account that can get you into the Fabric environment. So, right, then you have two ways in which you can connect. So you can see connect to OneLake, right? So connect and include table in this semantic model. Then there's another option that says connect and include tables and views in this semantic model. Now, if you connect either way, you are not going to get the same results. So let's try and connect to OneLake and see what this is going to give us. So let's connect to the OneLake. Okay. So it's saying that we should enter a semantic model. So let's just call it maybe semantic. Then let's select. So this is the table that I have in my lakehouse, right? So this is the table that I have there. Then I'm going to click on OK. Now let's pay attention, because something is going to happen immediately we connect. Now something is going to happen. It's still trying to connect. So let's pay attention. Something is going to happen, like I said. Okay. Okay. So immediately you connect to your Power BI, right? So if you observe, you will see that you don't even have the report view anymore, because if you look at the storage mode here, has changed from what? The other one that we did the other time, it was showing us that we have we have direct query, right? So we have import mode, but this time around, what type of storage mode do we have? Direct lake. Can you see? So this shows that you have access directly to the lake, to the lake house, right? So you have access directly to the lake house. Now you can see that from here, what you can do here is just probably the only thing you can do here is just for you to create a measures. You cannot edit a table. You cannot add a new table. You cannot do anything such of even reports. You cannot create a report here at this moment. If you want to create your report, you have to go to the Power BI service, to the Fabric environment. to do that. So the only thing you can do here with this connection that you made here is just to create measures. Then if you want to do your TMDL, I think you can also do all those type of stuff. So the only thing you can do here is just to create your measures, and that's the only thing you can do. You cannot do anything. You cannot do more than that at the moment. If you connect like this, now that's why you are learning. So you need to know, okay, how do I connect? If I want to create my report, I want to see my report, I want to see my dashboard, I want to be able to see my table views, I want to be able to see everything that I need to see. So how do you connect, right? So another way you can connect is via the, so let's connect again. I will say Lakehouse. So this time around, we are not connecting using the first option. So this time around, oh, I think I made a mistake. I made a mistake already. Supposed to click on that directly. Okay, I think it's fine. So now, for this one now, you can see the options to pick the tables that you want, right? So you can see the options to pick the tables that you want directly from your Fabric Lakehouse. So you can see the tables that you want to, you can see all the tables in your Lakehouse. So I want to pick this product table. Then you can also preview. So the connection is directly from your, but I want to show you something. Sorry, I want to show you something before I connect this. So when I click on the one Lakehouse, so before I did the connection, I want to, so if you click here, I thought there's an option to, let me see. It's supposed to show, I think it shows one other options the other time. I don't know why it's not showing that options now. Like you have to connect either using the SQL endpoint or you connecting directly to the Lakehouse. So this time around, the option is to connect to the SQL endpoint. So you can see this one as well. So let's just load the data because we are not trying to do data transformation today. So now you can see another option, right? So it's asking you can choose how to connect to this data source. Import mode allows you to bring copy of your data into Power BI. Direct Query will connect live to this data source. So whichever one you want to use, you can decide to use your import mode. You can decide to use what? Direct Query, right? So, okay, let me ask a question now. If you choose to use import mode, what will be the implications of using import mode? If you decide that, okay, let me use direct query, what will be the implication of you using direct query? Anybody, based on the explanation that I gave earlier. So if you choose import, what is the implication? And if you choose direct query, what is the implication of direct query? So let's see those who are following from the previous explanation that I made. Anyone who can give us like just to tell us what will be the impact if you are using import, what will be the impact if you are using direct query?
So that means if you are using import, you have a copy of the data in Power BI engine, in the vertical engine, Power BI memory. So if you use import, so that, and if you use direct query mode, that means that you won't have a copy of the data. The data will be picking directly from the source. So I think that's majorly the difference.
Yeah. So that's the major difference actually. So like you said, if you use the import, that means that you have the copy of the data in the Power BI engine. But if you use direct query, the data is not in Power BI. It is from the source system that the data is being stored. So they both have their own advantage. So let's use the import mode. Let's use the direct query. Let's see. let's use direct query. Let's use direct query. Now, so Power BI is telling you that there's a potential security risk when you had a second data source. Information from one data source might be included in query that are sent to the other data source. So only add another source if you trust the owner. Yeah, so I trust myself anyway. If it's from some other connection, I will not trust it. So I trust myself. So now, when you connect to another source, your connection changes. So when you have source from, let's say you use import mode first, you use another storage mode from direct query. Now you now have what type of storage mode? For those of us that, I know some of us are good, we are good. So when you have data source from different sources, like you have import and you have direct query, what type of storage mode do we call it? What type of storage mode do we call it? Anybody? When you have
is that composite?
That's
yeah,
dual.
God bless.
Dual or
Yeah,
composite.
that's
Okay.
yeah, composite. So some call it composite, some call it dual, some call it mixed, right? Mixed storage, right? So if you look down here, you see that your storage mode is what? It's called what? Mixed. It's called what? It's called mixed. So the moment you have data storage or data source from different system, like you have import and you have direct query, then your storage must change to what? To mix or composite or dual mode, right? So we are all learning, for some of us that I want to write PL 300, DP 600, those are questions that you might actually find in your exams as well. So let's just pay attention to that. So now, when you use import mode and you use direct query, how do you know the difference between them? Now, if you look at this customer table, you can see that for this customer table, you can see the table, right? You can see your customer table, right? You can see the tables. You can see the tables information here for the customer tables, but for the product table, you can't see the table here. This table cannot be shown because it is not what an import mode. Because the way you brought in the data, the way you connect the data, right? It is not, you are not using what? You are not using import mode. So you will not see the data in Power BI. You will not see the data in Power BI. Can you see? You only see what? You only see the customer table in Power BI. But that does not mean that you cannot create relationship. You can create relationship between the tables. For those of us that are very new, it doesn't mean that because they are of different connectivity or different ways you brought in them, you can still create your relationship. If you want to create a relationship between them, you can create your relationship between the two mode of connectivity that you have done. And another thing is that if you go to your Power Query, you will see the two data source. Now you'll be wondering that why are you seeing the data in Power Query and you're not seeing it in the Power BI itself? I think that might be another thing that some of us want. Okay, why is the product table? Why is it showing here? Right? It's showing here, but you cannot see the data in Power BI. Why? Well, so the way direct query works is that you can still do some little transformation here, right? You can still do some little transformation here. And I think whenever you are doing transformation here, right, especially using direct query, you must be able to push, I think they call something, I've forgotten this transformation that, when you do, I think Mr. Benga taught this particular class, maybe sometimes last year.
Is it query folding?
Yeah, query folding. Yeah, something like that. So, query folding. So your transformation must be able to push back, to your source system, because if not, your query here might break and so all this kind of stuff like that. So you might want to go back to query folding to understand what that transformation steps is. So in Power Query, you will see all your data, but in Power BI, you only see the one that you use import mode for. So what this is saying is that the data is not actually loading to Power BI. So Power BI is actually, the data is not actually loaded to Power BI, and you do most of this type of connection when you are working. This my neighbor today. Okay, so let's continue. So you do this kind of connection, when you are working with maybe big data, especially when you are working with maybe a warehouse data. You are working with data that are very large, right? That's when you can connect using direct query. Maybe, for example, now you have a table that contains just 500 records. You don't have to be using direct query for data that contains just 500 records. You don't overuse your system, right? In that case, you can just use your import. This data in the next 5-10 years, this data cannot be more than, let's say it cannot be more than 2,000 or 3,000 in 5 years. Then why do you want to be using direct query? You don't have to use that. But if you know that maybe, for example, now, like you have a transaction table that, okay, on a daily basis, you get about 10,000, 20,000 records on a daily basis. That means that by December, the data can enter like millions, entering like, close to like, maybe 500 or 300 millions or something, right? Then you can say that you want to use direct query in that part. So you need to know when to use direct query and when to use your import mode. I hope that is clear. So let's continue. So we have other source that we want to connect to. So let's just let's go to, so which other one that we can, let's check. So let's look at so I will allow people to pick. So which one do you want us to look at? In case if time does not permit us to look at every other one. So I want you to pick Data Lake Gen 2, Azure SQL Database, Databricks, Azure Synapse. Which one? Databricks. Wow. Okay, interesting. Chidima said Databricks. Any other person? Let's see. Any other person? Database is very simple.
Let's do Databricks then, followed by ADLS Gen 2.
Okay. Someone said I just seen analytics. Okay, so let's go by the majority. So someone said Databricks. So how do you connect to Databricks? Databricks is very, very well. You can actually connect via the Power BI, but for this use case, we are not going to be using that, right? So we'll be connecting from Databricks itself. For this use case, we'll be connecting from Databricks itself instead of, but you can actually connect from here. Just go to your more data. I think there's connectivities from here. Let's check. I think Zena Hoda. Search for Databricks. Yeah, Azure Databricks or Databricks. So you can connect from here. But for our use case, we will not be using this. We'll connect from Databricks itself. So let's go to the Databricks portal. So I have a Databricks project that I'm working on. So I will just go to my Databricks portal. So what you do there is that, so let's launch the workspace. So this is a Databricks workspace on Azure. So this is the Databricks workspace on Azure. So you connect to you need a credential as well. So you connect to your credentials and connect to whatever workspace you have created earlier. Okay, so on Databricks, so if you have, I don't know whether if anybody is familiar with Databricks, but it's very easy as well. So on Databricks, you have catalog. The catalog is just like your schema in your database system. So we have catalog. The way it works in Databricks is that it's like more of like hierarchical. So catalog is the first in the hierarchy, followed by schema, followed by table, then followed by your columns and every other thing. So you have this data. So like I said, your catalog is Power BI database demo. That's a catalog. Then followed by your schema. The default is the schema, just like the way you have masters in your SSMS, the way you have public in Postgres, right? Schema's name, right? So that's how it works here as well. So then you have your tables. So this is your tables. Maybe market customers, right? This is the tables, right? Can you see? This is the table. So now let's say that you have so many tables here. I just have one table just because of demo, right? We're not really doing much activities. So let's say that you have like 5 tables, you want to create your report, and you want to connect to Power BI, right? So the easiest way you can do that is so in Databricks here, so you go to Marketplace. So they call something Marketplace here in Databricks, right? And I think the reason why I brought you guys here is just to at least, give you an how Databricks look like. So that's why I don't want to connect directly from Power BI. So you go to Marketplace. So you come to Marketplace here. Then you search for the product that you want. So in Marketplace, we have different products like Tableau. You can connect to Tableau. You can connect to, any BI tools that you have. So you can connect to any BI tools from here. But let's search for Power BI. So I'll search for Power BI. So you can see. So this is Power BI. So you click on Power BI. So then you click on connect. So it's going to ask you for your compute. So they call something compute on Databricks. I think some of us will know what compute is, right? So you can create, so they have what they call serverless and what they have the cluster. So cluster is the one you create yourself. So for this one, this serverless starter warehouse is the one that comes with Databricks by default. So you can use it. And any other person too, you can also use Databricks, right? I think Databricks, they have a free version. So if you want to test run this thing, you can just create you don't need any developer account or any account to do that. So you can just test run this thing using your normal Gmail account. Just go to Databricks and set up all this thing and you can test run it as well. So it's free on Databricks. So you connect to your serverless cluster. If you want to connect to your serverless warehouse, if what you want to connect to is your cluster, you can also connect to your cluster as well. But in this case, you are connecting to the serverless warehouse, right? So I'll click on this. Then I'll say, so you see what I'm going to do? Just download connection files. I'm not doing anything else again. Just click on what? Download connection files. So the files have downloaded, right? So, and this is what, if you are working with some organization, your engineers will just send you this file and tell you that this is what you need. And you'll be wondering that, this is what I need to connect to Databricks, right? So you can see Databricks serverless starter warehouse. I've done what I just downloaded now. Then when you open it, it's going to ask you for some credentials. It's going to ask you for some credentials to connect to that warehouse. So that would be like a form of security, right? Another layer of security, another level of security. Okay, so please confirm you can see my screen. I hope you guys can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so like I said, it's still going to ask you for credentials. So it's going to tell you to connect and So let's wait. Oh, the data has connected already. Let's check it. Maybe it has connected already. Let's see. Okay. Oh, I think this one connect directly. It doesn't even, it didn't require, in some cases, it might require you to, or maybe because maybe because I did it earlier, before the section starts. Maybe that's the reason why you don't ask. But on the norms, supposed to ask for credentials. So just in case, so let me just show you. Just in case, maybe another time you are opening your Databricks for the very first time, right? And it asks you for credentials, right? So how do you connect to that source system? Is that on your Databricks, right? So you go to settings. You go to settings. I'm just showing this so that in case it will not look as if, oh, this guy did magic. And so you go to settings, right? Then you go to developer here. Go to developer here. Then under your developer, you see access token. So this access token is actually what you're supposed to use to connect, but most likely because I have connected to the source data before. That is why it doesn't ask me again. So, but if you are doing it for the first time, so you click on access token, then you click on manage, right? Then you say generate new token. So this new token that you are generating is what you will now use to connect in Power BI, because it's going to ask you, how do you want to connect? Do you want to use access token or you want to use your credential? So if you without this access token or without the credentials, like maybe your email address, then your password, you won't be able to connect, right? Even if you have downloaded the file will not open. So for the file to open, you need to come and generate this token. Say that if you look at this, I've generated a token. If you look at when I generated the token, it was yesterday night, something. I think yesterday evening. Then the token is expiring when? It's expiring on this particular date. So you can see it's expiring in June. So you can decide to generate a token for like a very long period of time, right? You can decide to generate a token for like 1 month or 1 day, even 1 day. You can reduce. So let's click on generate new token. So you can see what is this token for? What is the lifespan of your token? So you can decide when your token is going to expire. Do you understand? So then when you copy the token, then you come and paste it in your Power BI to connect. Then you can now see, you can say that this is the the Power BI database demo is what? Is the catalog. While the default is what? Is the schema. Then this is the tables that we want to bring in. Can you see? Then you click on the maybe market customers. And then you can click on, transform data. So let's click on, or let's load. Let's load. Okay, so if you look at any question while this is loading, any question from anyone, any question from, if you have question, let's ask question. Any question while this is loading, any question. So network might be a problem because I think my network is a bit, I don't know, I think it's slow. So if you have any question, okay, if you want a persistent connection that won't expire, which is the best recommended mode of connection? And what is the maximum timeline for expire of the token when connecting to the database? Well, the connectivity is not like, it's just more of like for security, right? It's just for security purposes. It's not like when the token expired, you don't have access to your reports again. No, I think it's just a layer of security purpose, right? Power BI is like an external tools to data. You can actually create your report in Databricks. You can create everything, but you connecting to the Databricks to use Power BI is just like them telling you that, oh, if you want to connect this thing, we want to set an expiring date for generating. So if you don't even use a token, you might not even use a token. You can use your credentials. So, but when you ask me that, when it comes to recommended mode of connection, I don't know what you mean by mode, but most of the time, now let me ask you a question. What type of mode, when I mean mode, storage mode, does Databricks use to connect to Power BI? Can anyone tell us what type of mode do we use now? What type of mode is this? Anyone? What type of mode is this? Yeah, direct query. So you can see it's a direct query. So you don't. So automatically you can't bring in. You can't import data into Power BI using Databricks. That's just what they are telling you. So simply you cannot bring in data into Power BI using what? Using import mode. The only way you can do it is what? The only thing you can do is to just connect to that source using what? Direct query. And when I say direct query, that means that you can't see you can do your measures, right? You can create your reports, but you cannot add columns, you cannot add the tables, right? You cannot add the tables in this type of so sorry, you can add a table, you can add tables here, you can actually add a table to your models, but you cannot add the new columns. That's what I want to say. You can add the new columns. So if you want to add the new columns, you go to your what? You go to your Databricks to do that sort of addition and minus, etc. So that is how you connect to Databricks. Then to do your whatever you want to do, create your reports and do every other thing that you need to do. Right. So that is the data source connection to, and I think the easiest way to connect to Databricks. So any question before we move on? Any question? Any question from anyone before we move on? Any other question? I have a Power BI report when they're connected to Databricks in important. Oh, really? Wow, I have not. Okay, that's interesting. I have not done that before anyway. Maybe I will explore that. Most of the time, it's always direct query I've experienced before. That's interesting. That makes sense then. If you can bring in the data, that is fine. I will try and explore that. Okay, so now let's look at Synapse. So let's look at Synapse Analytics. I think time is first. So let's look at Synapse Analytics. Okay, Chidima, your hand is up. Yeah, go on, Chidima.
Yeah. Thank you, also for this section. So my question is that now, after importing your data, can you perform your transformation on it, like writing your DAX query and the rest of them? Hello, do you get me?
Do you mean in sorry, like do you mean that if you can write DAX query?
Yes, can you write
using connectivity to?
Yes, exactly. I'm just curious about this. Okay.
Yes, you can write that. So if you come here, you can. So now I think if you use import mode, then you can create all those calculated columns. So, but if you can write that, if you click on new measure, you can write that. So if you want to write that, you can write that. So if you want to say let's say that you want to calculate total customer, right? You can write that. So they made the integration to be easier. So it's not that it's not hard. So if you want to depending on what you want to do anyway. Count, you can do count, distance, customer. Distance counts, customer. Okay. Yeah. So if you can do your tasks, yeah, you can do your things, right? You can do your DAX things. Yeah. So it's easy. You can do your DAX things. Yeah. And this type now, that means that the data is connected directly to, because you are using direct query, data is connected directly to what so your data bricks. Yeah. I don't know why this is taking longer. What happened? Okay. Any other question? Any other question? Okay, if there's no other question, so let's look at so if you are experiencing something like this, it's most likely to be network. So we are connecting live to the warehouse. So network can be the issues why this is taking time to display. So the network can be the issue. So that is another reason why import mode sometimes is better, because you already you already have the data in your Power BI already. It doesn't take time to load. So now let's look at the Synapse. So how do you connect to Synapse Analytics?
Please, we can fill the attendance form. Sorry, we can fill the attendance form. Continue, sir.
All right. So for Synapse, just go to your very straightforward. So I think we can still use this file. So let's go to get data, then go to more. But don't forget all these things. I will advise you to have a little bit experience with the back end as well. I will try and encourage us so that you are not just connecting. You know what some of the engineers have done for you at the back end, and if you can just have experience, a little experience, you don't need to have much. At least just have little one. So now I want to connect to Azure Synapse Analytics. So I'm going to click on Azure Synapse Analytics here. Then I'll click on Connect. So when you click on Connect, what it's going to ask you is that it's going to request for server and database. That's the only thing that's going to ask you. It's going to ask you for your server and database, right? So I will go to my Azure portal. So I'll go to my Synapse. So I'll go to Synapse Workspace. Now, because I'm not going to, because of time, I don't think, or do you guys want to see how the Synapse look like? Because the way it works is that they will just give you connection string. They won't show you what is on the Synapse environment. But let me just show you for learning purpose. So what you need here is your serverless endpoint. So what you need here is your serverless endpoint. So you connect it here. So you put your serverless endpoint here, your credentials here, database, if you want to. You can use import mode or direct query, anyone that you want to use. So I think that is the reason why the other person said import mode can also work with database as well. So let's click on OK. So for this one as well, I guess because I have connected to this source as well too, it's supposed to ask you for credentials as well. So it's going to ask you for credentials. You can't just connect like this. It's too easy like this to connect. So what is it saying? Hey, It says file landing cannot be opened because it does not exist or by another. Hey, something is wrong. And I work on this thing before coming. I think something. Let me check my Synapse. I guess something is wrong there. Oh, I did not save. That would be so painful. But I thought if I did not save my work, because I think I thought I saved the work I did. But let's check. So please, if you have any question, please you can ask. If you have any question, you can ask. If you have any question, please you can ask. Please, if you have any question, you can ask so that while this is loading, so that we won't have much time to spend on Q&A. So if you have questions, you can drop them in your chat box, or if you want to ask by speaking, you can raise your hand. And that's also welcome. Sorry, I think my network is. So I just want to check if what I thought I created is here. So let me check if it's here. It's here now. What now happened? It's here. I don't know what is happening. Columns. What's not the issue? Okay. So I'm just trying to check if say that it is by another source. This is surprising. Okay, let's see. Let me see if I don't want to be troubleshooting on this call. Troubleshooting here might eat our time. But anyway, I might not be able to troubleshoot this, but the way you connect, I don't want to start troubleshooting this, because if I want to troubleshoot it, I will have to, what I will do is that I will have to create these views all over again. But what you need to connect to Power BI is this. So you copy this serverless SQL endpoint, right? So now in Synapse Analytics, we have two types, right? We have the serverless and the dedicated, right? So if you work with the serverless endpoint, you copy the serverless endpoint. If you work with the dedicated SQL endpoint, so you copy the dedicated. You might want to ask, what is the difference between the serverless and the dedicated? So dedicated is like you are copying your data, maybe from your silver layer, right? For some of us that understand medallion architecture, right? So we have the gold layer, the silver layer, and the gold layer. So let's say that you have done transformation in your silver layer, then you want to move the data into your gold layer. So what Synapse Analytics is saying is that you can do two things. You can create a serverless SQL pool, or you create what? A dedicated pool. A dedicated pool means that you are bringing your data from your silver layer into your gold layer. So the data is going to exist inside the gold layer, which is your Synapse. But serverless SQL is saying that no, you don't need to bring the data into that server. You can just query it directly. So that is what the serverless SQL endpoint means. So what you just need to connect to Power BI is to take this serverless SQL endpoint, right? Take it to your Power BI, just like the way I did earlier, right? So connect it, and it's going to show you all the servers, the tables that you have in that Synapse Analytics. So that's how you do that. So I don't want to start troubleshooting because of time. By the time I have to first create all these things, run these scripts one after the other, and I don't know, maybe the database that I created earlier was deleted somehow. Probably I didn't save it, because obviously I can see that it's not, I can't run it here, or something has happened. So sorry for that. Anyway, so let's move on. So any question before I move on? Any question? Any question from anyone? Any question from anyone? Before we proceed, any question? Any question? Okay, so if there's no question, so let's quickly look at, we have few minutes left. It's almost 5 o'clock. So let's look at how we can connect via Azure SQL database. So let's say that you have SQL database on the cloud, right? You have Azure SQL database on the cloud, and you want to bring in data from your Azure SQL database. So let's see how you can do that. So let's go back to the cloud. So here I have my Azure here. I have my So let's go to SQL database. So I have this database here on the cloud, right? I have the database, so you can check it. So let's quickly view the data. So you can connect using your SQL authentication. You're going to ask you for your username and password. You connect, right? So please, if you have questions, I know we have just a few minutes left. So if you have questions, please ask your questions, and I can answer them while this is moving as well. Okay, so we have firewall issue. IP address. Okay, so if you look at this, so you have this table. If you look at this table, you have this information, right? So you can preview it, select all from, let's say maybe transaction X97, then you can run it. So you can do all those kind of stuff on your Azure portal or server or anything. So now we want to bring in this data into Power BI, right? So now, how do you connect to Power BI? It's very easy as well. So let's go to, the data. So you can see the data here. You can see the data, right? So let's go to Power BI now. So in Power BI here, you click on your get, go to your new source, and click on more. Then I'll go to database. Let's go to Azure. So let's say Azure SQL database. So it's going to ask you for the server name. So for server name, go to your overview. I think you should be able to see the server name from the overview. So server name, so this is the server name. So that is a, oh no, copy wrong thing. This is the server name. Okay, I think it's correct actually. Server name. So this is the server name. Database option, if you want to, so direct query. So let's click on advanced option. So now I want to use the SQL statement to bring in these tables, right? So I'm going to say select all from what's the name of that table? Sorry, please, if you have questions, I know we have, yeah, this will be the last one we'll look at, and the time has gone. So let's just look at this one, then we'll call it a day. So please, if you have questions, you can drop your questions, and let's just look at these last steps. Then let me see if my network, if I can change this network. So please, if you have questions, you can ask questions. Sorry about that. Sorry, I think my network is very poor. No, right? I don't know why the network is poor today. Please, sorry, Isaiah, can you still hear me? Chidima, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you very
Okay.
well.
All right, so let's just quickly do this last this last set, then wrap it up. So let's go to the SQL database. Okay, so let's say select all from the choose. Okay, so let's say what we are trying to do is that want to execute this, right? They want to bring the data into Power BI. So let's say union So let's go to Power BI. Then copy this here, paste this here rather. So what we want to do is that we want to use the statements to do that. We don't want to. So we want to bring all the tables in the transaction tables, right? We want to append them together instead of we bring in 1997 different, 1998 different. So you just want to use your SQL statement to bring them in. You can even also decide to, if you don't want to bring in some columns, if you don't want to import all the columns, you can identify the columns that you want to bring as well, right? So you can identify the columns. So let's click on OK. It's asking for the database. For database, the database is this. So let's click on OK. Okay, so you can see. So you can see the data, and it's going to bring all the data, including 1998 and 1987 together. So you can use your select statement to actually achieve that. So you can use your select statement to actually achieve that. So I think that this is where we're going to stop today, Isaiah, and thank you for everyone that joined today's session as well. So if you have any questions, maybe one or two questions, if you have any questions before we call it a day, you can just ask the questions. And if there's no questions, we can also end the session as well. So thank you very much, everyone.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Folorunsho. We've come to the end of today's class, and let me apologize for taking some of our time. I don't think it would be nice for us to just cut this section within if we didn't complete the whole sources. So we see tomorrow 7 o'clock. I can tell you that tomorrow we'll stick to time. So let's have a good weekend rest. Bye-bye, everyone.